You are now listening to Malvado, an audio drama that offers a fictional dystopian take on the war on drugs consuming the Mexico-United States national border, portraying the life of a young photojournalist who seeks to fulfill his grandmother's last wish at the cost of his life and sanity. Previously on Malvado, in the wake of his grandmother's passing, freelance photojournalist Diego Rojas, his task was spreading her ashes in her birth village outside the Ciudad Juarez, El Paso war zone. Recognizing veteran photojournalist Nicholas Hayden at a Mexican restaurant, Rojas failed to convince the veteran to assist him on his quest. A massive explosion revealed to be the Fort Bowden military base across the border cuts the dinner short. The two photojournalists set off into the night, with Hayden seeking information about the attack and Rojas seizing the opportunity to fulfill his grandmother's final wish. It was a 2-hour drive to the airstrip. Hayden and I already spoke. Our eyes were glued to the road and the surrounding areas as El Paso's nightlife wandered about aimlessly, trying to find the source of the explosion. I tried to get some sleep, hoping to quell my inner child, desperate to claw his way into consciousness. After a long and hard-fought battle, my present self emerged victorious, only for Hayden to stop the car 10 minutes later, right in front of the airstrip's entrance. Soldiers immediately escorted us onto a Bell Huey, and before I knew it, we're tearing through the sky in the blink of an eye, crossing over the border as God himself arose to welcome in a new day. Or, despite me, as he seizes my attention away from the chopper's cabin to the world outside, a world consumed by bloodshed and hate. To my right, dozens of patrol vehicles scout the border, hunting for illegals. Dozens of makeshift crosses protrude from the earth like beacons of sorrow, a warning to those seeking solace in the U.S. To my left, a city burns. Clouds of smoke dance in the sky and fires run rampant. Small numbers of people are gathered on rooftops, their hands reaching out to the heavens, praying for escape, begging us to escort them to safety. My intrusive thought is to force the chopper to land, to somehow manifest a weapon and take control, forcing Hayden and the pilot to cooperate. But all I can do is arm myself with my camera and snap a few grim photos as Hayden's words from the car ride echo in my mind.
The Nicaraguan dictator Ernesto Salazar changed the world and all of North America the moment he decided to revive the Medellin cartel. Some found it strange that he had any pull over it, but those that know their history were aware that he was close to the Escobar family. And after the fall of the family, he moved back home and slowly built up a fortune to revive the old ways, creating a close alliance in time with the Mexican government. This later fast-tracked a new war on drugs to the state and kicked off strenuous ties between Mexico and the US, while Ernesto played face. However, in time, the US very much struck first and adopted a scorched earth policy. The US Army marched all the way through Mexico down to the capital to try and cut the head off the snake. But it was all for naught. Mexico had strangely been planning for this and evacuated all of the capital and the surrounding towns. You see, Ernesto Salazar had been pooling arms in mass amounts under the guise of defense contracting to gear up for all-out war and hell on earth. Before the US military knew it, the Gulf of Mexico was seeping with the blood of Americans and oil from the ships. And Mexico City, it had become a death pit for much of the US Army. Our military was choked within a month and pushed back to the border, with El Paso and Juarez becoming a stalemate between both countries. And the Gulf, well, it became a minefield, standing in absolute gridlock with the help of a strange small section of the Nicaraguan military.
It isn't long before the chopper begins its descent into the bowels of Fort Bowden. As I feel the engine whirling down, I search my backpack for my press badge and camera, before Hayden once again grabs my attention.
Alright, kid. Look at it this way. We're about to land. Stick with me, stay close, and don't drift off. We're gonna get in, get the info we need, and get out of here. Got it? Keep the mask with you and keep it handy.
I place the mask on my face, and when the chopper finally lands, Hayden and I disembark right into the fires of hell. A mountain of smoke pollutes the sky above, blowing out the sun and casting a shadow on the land. All around me is chaos. Soldiers dash madly in all directions, some with rags to their mouths or wearing face masks, while others freely breathe in the pollution. Dozens of sirens from fire engines rattle my bones, and teams of firefighters deploy en masse in the background to quell the numerous fires that rage unopposed. Paramedics tear through the crowds, carrying the wounded on stretchers, their bodies bleached by ash. Hayden immediately tears away from me, and I take off after him, immersing myself in the horror of the base. Multiple times, Mom was trampled by soldiers. Too many times I almost crashed into paramedics, and too many times I almost lose Hayden. In my desperate chase, I catch glimpses of soldiers glancing in my direction, their faces a mix of suspicion and animosity. I understand their hatred, their aggression, their anger. They've been at war with my race for years, and God knows how many lives have been lost. Eventually, I spy Hayden conversing with a lieutenant, and I approach the two of them.
Hangar B.
Hayden darts further into the base, and once again I pursue him. He takes a sharp left into a still intact hangar bay, where Commander Gonzalez, a man I recognize from TV, converses with another soldier before turning his attention toward us. As I move in closer, I could see the bags around the commander's eyes, his brown skin creased by wrinkles and decades of warfare.
Commander Gonzalez.
Hayden,
What's the info?
last night there was a breach. 3 vans cut through our perimeter defense. 2 of them stopped when they got inside the base and opened fire. The other targeted our ammunition depot. When the dust settled, I ordered a casualty report. We lost 50 men. Intel suggests the men on guard last night were working with them. That's why the attack was a success. We let them in.
Well, these are some interesting developments. At least it'll make for a nice byline for the editors.
Dumbasses back home think we're winning this war. Please. You and I both know there's no winning.
No, that can't be true. The next thing I know, the commander and Hayden are glaring into my soul. People at the restaurant were talking about the Las Cruces campaign and how it was a major blow to the cartel. If we managed to push back the enemy, isn't that a victory? Hayden and the commander exchange glances at each other, then turn their attention to me. But before Hayden can open his mouth to berate me, a young woman's voice interrupts him.
Hayden!
The commander, Hayden, and I all turned to see someone approaching us. She's wearing a face mask, a button-down white shirt under a bulletproof press vest, green cargo pants, and a Nikon 7.9 camera around her neck. Her hair is tied in a curly updo, and her chocolate-colored skin and brown eyes glow fiercely amidst the haze. Sasha?
Rojas!
What are you doing here?
I'm not supposed to be here, though boss man over here never seems to return my calls or emails. Thought I'd just show up.
You know Hayden?
Yeah, I've been writing articles for the photos he's been sending us for months, but for some reason they're not getting published anymore.
Are you serious?
I know, and Hayden's been our only source for what's going on with the border. Something's up. The thing is, no one's talking about it back home. It's like they're hiding something from us. And this, the base, we're in a goddamn war.
Sasha, Hayden, and I follow the commander as he takes us further into the base. We pass by a series of medical tents overflowing with the injured, and the medical staff, like the other soldiers, move in disarray. Sasha and I peer into the tent, where the soulless eyes of the injured stare back at us.
Holy shit.
We emerge from the corner into the heart of the base, the mushroom cloud from before growing pale, failing to hide the sight before us.
Oh my god.
Right in the heart of Fort Bowden, 50 opened body bags are lined in rows of 2, stretching from where we stand to the base's exit. A small team of medical examiners study the bodies one by one, slowly descending the rows. When they reach us, they glance at us with sunken eyes before using their gloved and bloodied hands to open the body bag beneath our feet. Inside is a teenager, missing his right arm and lower half, his intestines dangling outwards like loose spaghetti. I hear Sasha dash to the left, followed by sounds of intense vomiting. Meanwhile, all I can do is just stare, processing the image below me, fighting tooth and nail to not vomit on the corpse. I hear the sound of a camera next to me. Aiden, his grizzled face, holding his Canon R5 in his hands, appears next to me, along with the commander.
I tried to tell you earlier, but you didn't listen.
The examiner closes the bag and leaves along with Hayden and the commander. God's light pierces through the smoke and shines on my face, forcing me to look away from the body beneath me. There's a soldier, a sergeant, standing in the center of the body, staring at me with bloodshot eyes. Like the other soldiers, his face is slathered in ash, yet I can make out thin streaks running down his cheeks as if he were crying. He's hunched over, but as soon as he sees me, he stands up straight. As more tears flow down his cheeks, he raises his right hand, remedying his position into a salute. The sergeant puts his arm down as I examine the photo. I turn my head to see Sasha approaching me, having recovered from her vomiting, and I smile as she approaches. Ice floods my veins and confusion clouds my mind, yet I turn my head trying to identify the source, only to stare down the barrel of an M17 handgun. Hey everyone, I'm the voice of Diego Rojas, AJ Salazar. I want to thank you for listening to Awakening, episode 1 of Malvado, produced by Team Bellum Infernum. Follow us on Instagram at MalvadoTTU and check out the Bellum Infernum SoundCloud page and a YouTube channel for previous episodes. Visit our website at malvado.my.canva.site/Malvado. Uncover the aftermath of the Fort Bowden incident in Strife, Malvado episode 2.